Hey everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I came in today to kind of talk about this All Eyes on Me movie that just opened this weekend about the life of Tupac. And I wanted to say before I get started with the video, don't let anybody dictate to you what you will or will not see in the movie theater. I mean, sometimes we should support our movies, even when no one else out there supports it. And y'all know what I mean when I say that. So I want to take a moment and talk about my feelings about the grumblings that's going on out there about this movie. And I do call it grumbling. I want to start off by saying, if I went by everything that I've seen or heard about this movie, I would not be going to see it. Now, I told y'all that this is a movie because I was a Tupac fan that I am going to see. I will see it. I just haven't seen it yet because I only want to go with my son, and my son has to work. And until his next day off, I won't see it until then. As soon as I do, I'm going to do my little review on it. But the reason why I started the video off the way that I did is because I have been seeing all of this negative stuff about the movie. Now, let me just tell you this. When I heard that this movie was coming out and I started seeing all these interviews, with the people that played the different people in the movie, I watched all the interviews that I could. When I saw the little excerpts of the movie that they were releasing here and there, I watched those. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to get a feel for not only what the movie that's coming out, but the actors that are playing the characters. Now, the most important character in this movie is the guy who plays Tupac. I watched several interviews with him, and he tells the story of how he got this part. He is not an actor. He was a young guy that his friend convinced him to submit an audition tape for this movie. He said his friend had been telling him for years that he had a resemblance to Tupac, and he said that his friend all but begged him to submit that audition tape. He said he waited to the last minute, 30 minutes before they were closing up submissions for the movie, never even dreaming that he could possibly get this part, because first of all, he wasn't even an actor. Now, on the other side, the people that received the tape, they said they got his tape. There was something about him that made them want to call him in. They said that, they kind of felt something, but it didn't hit them until he came in, and they said, now we can do something with this. The actor that played him, I think this young man did the best he could. He submerged himself in everything that he knew he could about Tupac. He allowed them to send him to acting classes. He got his nose pierced. He said that he lived, drank, and slept Tupac from the moment he woke up in the morning. He said that this process for him started about 6 years ago. And let me just stop here, y'all, because this is something that bothers me about our movies. Y'all know, as Black people, that any movie that is made by us, for us, and about us gets no funding from Hollywood. The reason why it took so long for this movie to be made is because they had to gather not only the story, get a script together, but the funding to even make the movie. Hollywood is not going to hand out any money to be making no damn Tupac movie because they don't give a fuck about Tupac. Let's just keep it real. So first of all, let's at least give them kudos for doing everything that they could to get this movie made. Some of them even putting their own money in. This guy that played Tupac, he said that when he first came onto the film, when they told him that he had the job, that he had 1 month of disability left because he used to work for Dish Network. And after that, he wasn't going to be able to pay rent or anything. He said those guys, not the studio, those guys that fought for him to play Tupac, took money out of their own pocket to make sure that his bills were paid so he could concentrate on playing this role. Do you know that they said that Hollywood, when they brought him in, this guy that's going to play Tupac, Demetrius Shipp, Hollywood said he was too dark to play Tupac. He wasn't light enough. Those guys said they had to argue with the studio to say, wait a minute, Tupac was not a light-skinned guy. Right off, you're going to lose people if you have Tupac pop on the screen being light-skinned when everybody know that he wasn't. They fought for that. They fought for it. They said that then, even to the people that they chose for the movie, they had to argue with the studios to get those people that they felt may not necessarily look like the character that they were going to play, but had the essence of that character. Now let's get back to the movie. I know Jada Pinkett Smith came out right before the movie aired nationwide and said she was not feeling the movie, blah, 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 because she was never consulted. My question to her is, we all knew that this movie was coming out, Jada. We all knew that they were making this movie. Did you make yourself available to them to consult with about your relationship with Tupac? Because we all know that you and Tupac had a special relationship. Did you let them know that, hey, I know you may not be able to tell my relationship that I had with Tupac. I am as available as you guys need me to be. Don't throw stones if you didn't open up a dialogue to those guys that were making the movie. She probably knew before the public that the movie was being made. And here's what they said about that when they did the interviews. They said they didn't know whether Tupac and Jada actually had a romantic relationship, because they said that Tupac and Jada always just said that they were very good friends, that they had been friends since they were childhood. They said that Tupac and Jada never said publicly whether they were or were not a couple, or had not ever been a couple. So they said because of that, when they did the movie, they did not want to put in there that they were a couple and that they were lovers if they really were not, because they didn't want to offend Jada if they were not. So if Jada felt like they did not tell her story correctly, her relationship with Tupac, then Jada, why didn't you call them? Then another thing, 50 Cent. I ain't even going to speak on him because to me, he hate on everybody. So let's go past that. Another thing that got me is the websites that are not black websites. I'm not talking like Vibe, Essence, and any other, BET and, stuff like that. If the white websites are saying, oh, the movie is not anything, oh, this is a low budget movie, like I said, who is giving black movies, producers of black movies, money to make movies? So you don't give them the money, but then when they scrape together the money to put together a film, then you condemn it. That's what happens to all of our movies, y'all. If they didn't give the funding, if they didn't give the red light, if they didn't put the white man stamp of approval on it, then they don't feel that the movie is good. And then y'all listen to them and don't go see the movie. And then they can turn around and say, see, You see what I mean? They made all this hype about this movie, and half those niggers didn't go see it. That's what it's a vicious circle. So when I said don't let them dictate to you what movie you should and should not see, if you are a Tupac fan and you got an extra $10 laying around, because that's all the price of a ticket is, a measly $10. Don't let nobody tell you not to go see this movie or discourage you from seeing it if it's something that you were intending to see. Don't go by what you're reading on these blogs, vlogs, and watching on television. Go see the movie. Keep in mind that these people, it took them all these years to get together the money for the movie and put together a script. They are doing, now just think about it. If they had these big $1,000,000,000,000 budgets that these other people had, they could hire all the writers, the biggest screens, and the biggest scenery, take them all over everywhere. In other words, they would have a budget to do whatever in the fuck they wanted to do in that movie. These guys put a little piece of money here together, put a piece of money here together, and did the best they could with the budget that they had, that they scraped together. Don't knock the film if you didn't help them with the budget. And then some people might say, well, if you don't have the money, don't make the movie. Y'all, we don't want to do that, because there will never be another black movie. And I'm not talking about movies made by white people about us. I'm talking about movies made by us, for us, and about us. If we wait until, or if we use that saying, don't do the movie if you don't got the money, we will never have a movie about us, because they're not going to give the movie money to us, or they're not going to tell the stories that we want to see. They're going to do movies that they want in the theaters. Those slave movies. If it's a slave movie, they'll give a big budget for that. Y'all have been saying that. But if it's a movie like a story about Tupac, where's the funding for it? Why didn't some big person step in and fund that movie? Think about that, y'all. Don't be brainwashed. Then I sit and watch on these vlogs. You know how I tell y'all I read the comments under all the blogs and all this stuff, to watch our people sit and pick apart this movie. Now, what I will say is, when I read the comments, actually 60% of the people said that while the movie wasn't exactly what they thought it was going to be, they actually said they enjoyed it. They said that it was nice to hear his music. They said that after a while, even though the guy doesn't look exactly like Tupac, you forget that and you get into the story. They said that it helps you learn about a side of Tupac that the public might not necessarily know. They say that a lot of this stuff, because Tupac's life was an open book and we know already a lot about it, that a lot of these stories we already know. They also say that if you thought this was going to start in his childhood and go chronologically about his life, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that it's not like that. It's jumping from past to present and kind of bringing you up to the moment that Tupac was killed. Do you know that there were even people that said they didn't like how the film ended? And one person said, well, you do know he did die, and that was the scene. So that was, close to the ending. So you know what, y'all? I guess what I'm saying is, they're going to pick apart this movie. There were those people when Nate Parker did his Birth of a Nation, because of all the controversy around Nate, allegedly raping that girl or whatever happened with that whole college thing. They didn't see the movie. And the people that actually saw it said it was a good movie. I went to see it. Now, get this. I didn't necessarily agree with what Nate did. But when I had, heard that that movie was coming out, way before I knew anything about, the whole background with, what happened with him and that young lady, I had said I was going to see it, so I went to see it. In other words, I try to support our people's work. I try to. And sometimes I go and it's an epic fail, and I'm like, oh, that was a waste of the 2 hours. But I don't nitpick it, because where I might not have liked it, the person sitting beside me in the theater may have had a total different experience of that movie than I did. So what I'm saying is this: if you were a Tupac fan and you were gonna go see it, don't let nobody stop you from seeing it. So let's just say for your $10, you got the chance to hear his music on some big surround sound thumping speakers that they have at the movie theater, and you got the chance to see a guy pretend to be Tupac on screen for 2 hours, then you got, your $10 worth. If you were not a person that was not going, let me calm down, y'all. Let me chill my ass down. What I'm trying to say, if you were a person who wasn't going to go to see the movie, you never had any intentions of going, fuck a Tupac movie, don't discourage the people that wanted to go. Don't make them feel stupid for trying to support a film that was made by black people, for black people, and about a black person. Don't do that. That's why our movies don't get made, y'all. That's why. Because we don't support. This weekend, if they don't see a record turnout or some type of mass turnout for this All Eyes on Me movie, you know what white Hollywood is going to say? It was a flop. It was a flop. Even with Nate Parker's movie. Nate Parker's movie did a lot better than some white movies, and they still consider his movie a flop. Now, maybe just say that they thought Nate Parker's movie before the scandal was going to do 100 million, and maybe the movie only did 40 million its opening weekend. That's still good. It made some money, and then people are continuing to see the movie. So don't let them define to you what a flop is. Until you go sit in that movie theater, you might say, well, I went to see the movie. I don't like the guy that played Tupac, but I like the person that played Faith Evans. I'm just picking the character off the dome, y'all. I liked what they did. I liked her character. You found something good to say about the movie. You know what I'm saying, y'all? It's all in your perspective. So with that, I ain't letting nobody stop me from going to see the movie. As soon as my son get a day off and he has rested up and he feel like being bothered with his mama for 2, maybe 3 hours, because I expect for me and him to go have either dinner or lunch or whatever type of time of day it is. We're going to go after the movie and sit down and discuss it. And if he can bear to spend another hour with me after we see the movie, then y'all, I will come back and give y'all a review. I am not going to go see the movie with my friends. I really, really want to only see it with my son, because he enjoys Tupac music like I do. I think when he was growing up, when he was a teenager, me and my ex, we used to be bumping Tupac music in the house, and when he was a teenager, he would be like, who is that? And we would be like, oh, that's this guy named Tupac, blah, blah, blah. And I think because we blasted it so much, it made him fall in love with him, because now he likes him like I do. So with that, y'all, I'm going to get on out of here, because I've been beating my gums for too long. Enjoy your weekend. And like I said, if you can find it in your heart and you want to see the movie, go see it. Hell with what these white websites are saying, or what all those naysayers. And I'm going to say one last thing. I don't want anyone to think that I was knocking Jada, because I know, that she had a special place in her heart for Tupac, and he had a special place in his heart for her. All I said is, I wondered did Jada let them know that she was open to consult on the movie, Or did she wait till it was all over, it was out in the movie theaters, and then criticize it? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So I don't want to end it with y'all thinking that, I was trying to knock Jada, because actually, her little kids are a little weird, but I don't dislike that girl. And I can imagine that Tupac was very special to her, especially since he died. And I can imagine that it hurts her if she had no input into a movie that is about him. So on that, I can kind of understand her feelings a bit, but I don't want her to discourage other people from seeing it. And with that, y'all, I really got to get out of here. Y'all take care. Thanks as always for watching the video. Bye-bye now.